So in today's firewood video, I'm going to talk about my firewood pricing. I'm going to go from how much I charge for the wood, how much I charge for delivery, and how much I charge for stacking. I'm also going to go over my costs, and then I'm going to go over my expenses. So first off, my left arm is paralyzed, as many of you know. Oh, by the way, my name's Joe, Joe's Premium Firewood. My left arm has been paralyzed since last August, so I can no longer run a chainsaw or a log splitter as far as picking up logs. So I have to buy all of my processed firewood just like I want it from my supplier, Mike, and a couple other people. So my cost for a cord of wood is $300. That's what I am paying. Mike comes here with a half cord at a time because that's all the wood he can move at one time. And he'll come here with a half cord and we'll either stack it or throw it in there or stack it in other spots because we no longer can find ash or very rarely find ready to burn wood. So I got to do the drying. So I will pay him, you know, like I said, $300 for the wood. Then what I charge for that, I charge not by cord increments, I charge by the truckload. So I sell what I call a normal truckload, which I have a 6.5 foot bed in my truck. Thrown in, I do stack one row on the back, thrown in level with the sides. It's the equivalent of a face cord, makes about a 8 foot by 4 foot stack. And I charge $150 for the wood. And it takes 3 face cords, make 1 full cord. So I'm making a $50 profit per truckload of wood that I sell. I also sell what I call a Joe cord, which is a 10 foot by 4 foot stack, or a heaped load in my truck. And that is the best value for the customer because like I say, it's halfway between a face cord and a half cord, but I'm only charging $175 just for the wood, and where I should be charging $190, but I'm just trying to keep it even. Then I also sell heaped stack loads in my truck, which is the equivalent of a half cord. So I charge $225 for those because that's the most wood I can move at one time. So if I'm paying Mike $300 for 2 half cords or a full cord, that's $300, and then I turn around and resell just the wood for $450. So $50 profit per face cord. But I've got expenses to that, which I will go into here in a little bit. Now let's talk about my delivery fee. So I charge a minimum of $40 to deliver a truckload of wood or whatever, anywhere from, you know, the truckload all the way to half cord, and that will go up to 14 miles away. Then at 15 miles I go up to $50, and so on and so forth. It goes up, you know, and that's just to drive to the customer's house. So if somebody ordered a face cord and they were 10 miles away, it's $200. And then that would be thrown out. Now, if I get to the customer's house and they say, here, go ahead and stack it, what I charge for a face cord is $20 to stack it, but I have to get right next to where they want it. And what I mean by right next to is I reach into my truck and I stack it here, not walk 10 feet and do it, which some people think next to is 10 feet away. It's not. I got to be able to touch the truck, you know. I tell them like within 5 feet, I got to get my bumper within 5 feet. So it is $20 for a face cord, $25 for a Joe cord, or $40 for a half cord. Now, if the customer helps me stack it, unload and stack it, there is no stacking fee. Now, if I get there and they say, well, you need to move it over, you know, over around this here, and you can't drive over there, well, then I charge them like $60 an hour because moving the wood and stacking the wood are 2 different fees. If you got to put it in a wheelbarrow and take it 20, 30 feet, it's like I charge them like $60 an hour. And I have a few customers that need the wood moved like 50 feet, and I've charged them like, the delivery of $80 to go up there and then like $60 to wheelbarrow and stack it. So that's like $140. But, you know, time is money. And there's people out there that say, well, I do it for free, and I'm just like, hey, you do you. But my time's worth $50 an hour. Your time might be $3.35 an hour. It's two different things. So so there's my price for the wood, price for delivery, and then moving and stacking fee. Now I got expenses. I've already told you what I'm paying for the wood. Now if my arm was working and I was able to cut, that would be a different story. But listen what I'd have to do. I've cleared out all the wood here on our property and all the properties that have permission to cut it in here. So if I was, my arm worked, I would have to drive. My closest property that I have to cut on is like about 16, 17 miles away. I have to drive there, go ahead and cut everything, then load my truck up and drive back here. So it's all that time about, I don't have to pay for it, but then I gotta have all my time into that on top of the gas and oil, which there's the expenses. For like my delivery fee, people are like always crying, oh, you charge them $85 to drive 40 miles? Yeah, because that's like basically how I'm basing it on, at $2 a mile one way, and then I charge $10 to load the truck, as long as it's under $40, if they're close by. But if I got to drive there and do that, it's time, and I'm using up gas. Okay, and then my truck, when it needs to be fixed, it goes through brakes. Like, every 2 years I got to have the brakes done, oil changes, anything else that breaks down it, tires, and I don't, my last set of tires, my friend Daryl in New Jersey bought them for me, and I really appreciate that, Daryl. But that's not always going to happen. So, I got to keep the truck on the road, gas and all that. And then there's insurance, car insurance. I just got a bill for $283 for 6 months. That's real low. That's only PLPD. Remember, my truck's, 18 years old, and I got to pay that every 6 months. Then there's registration. I just paid $144. Got to do that once a year to keep it on the road, And it's not my customers that are crying about this. It's usually, I've posted pictures on Facebook, of my deliveries, and then people are like, oh, butthurt because they can only get $60 where they live. Well, location is a thing, and then they claim to me, oh, I get all my wood free from a tree service. And I go, yeah, then you ship them everything, you ship them cookies. If the piece is 28 inches long, everything ships, everything burns. Where, look at this. All my wood is 16 inches long, and you can grab it with one hand. That's what my customers want, And people say, well, why do you post them pictures? You're just going to piss people off, and they're going to leave hateful comments. And I'm just like, well, I kind of like the fact that I'm living rent-free in their head. And, they all get all upset about it, but there are people that do support me. They see the expenses. They see the amount of work that goes into it. They see the quality of wood that my customers are getting, So I appreciate everybody that has supported me. I think that's all I got. And if I forgot anything or messed anything up, or you have any questions, put them in the comments. I'll try to respond to everyone, about the pricing. But I had to make a rant video because I haven't did it in a while, but that's how I do my pricing. If you have any questions, let me know. Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks for the thumbs up. We'll catch you guys on the next one.